harvested yesterday afternoon. Dad's already put 2 loads in this bin. This is the 3rd. Greased the drill this morning. He headed down to his place to go ahead and scrape the north farm. Once we're done with that, we're going to service the combine, get everything ready to go this morning. The bin we're unloading into right now holds about 2,000 bushel. Largely use the beans that we put in this bin to roast for roasted soybeans for our dairy cows. This bin is pretty old. Actually, my grandma, believe it or not, helped carry the cinder blocks for laying the foundation on this thing when she was a little girl. So we keep it around. I mean, I don't know, it's not real fun to get out of. It didn't used to have a sump underneath for unloading the beans, so we'd have to literally take an auger and shove it in the man door here and shovel that all uphill, and that was a royal pain in the butt. And so one year Dad and I got kind of creative and ended up kind of making a homemade sump. It actually sits on top of the floor inside this bin, but at least now we have somewhere that's actually centered in the bin for unloading, so we don't have to shovel all that uphill. So when I talk about that thing not having a sump, what a sump is that thing right there centered in the floor. And that's actually an auger that runs underneath the floor to a sump, which is a low point for the auger to land. And there's a door on that that actually opens. And to open that thing, there's a rod over here. So you pull this thing out, opens it, and in closes it. And that auger, you know, actually unload the bin here instead of having to, you know, like we were doing with the other bin, shove an auger in here and shovel it all uphill. That's not real fun. And we'd usually clean that bin out in April. And this is Northeast Ohio, and in April, sometimes it's hot. When I say hot, you know, sometimes you got 80-degree weather, and you know, I'm not exactly a skinny guy, and being inside of a bin shoveling in 80-degree weather, it's not fun. I mean, you do it, but I'm just saying it's not fun. So when I was talking about these beans being roasted, the reason we do that is, for one, if there's any mold or contaminants, you know, kill those and get rid of those. And then two being, it makes the soybean a lot more digestible to the cow's stomach. It ties the proteins up into the fiber of the beans, and so they're actually more digestible. And so that's the purpose behind roasting soybeans. It tastes pretty good as well if you ever tried them. My dad and I like to eat them while we're roasting them, but it is kind of a little bit of a dirty job. You end up with some soybean hulls blowing around afterwards and everything, but all in all, it's a good benefit for the cows, and it's cheap feed. So our soybeans, we grow them ourselves, so we don't have to buy it. Well, got that load empty now, so that's 3 up in that bin. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this wagon back here and get it tied on with the other ones. If any of you have ever backed 4-wheeled wagons, you know They're not exactly the easiest thing to back up. Definitely when you're out of practice, it takes a minute to get things back to being quick and efficient with it. Well, hopefully I gotta back up some more. Alright, well, I guess I might as well stick you guys back here to enjoy the show. Well, that was the last of the beans to unload, and went ahead and put the swing away. We got rain coming tomorrow, so I'm gonna take this shop back here and suck out this hopper. That way those beans don't get all full of water and nastiness. Well, there, got that all sucked out, so now hopefully we won't have any nasty stinky beans after the rain, because that does not smell good. What I'm doing now is taking this air filter back to the shop and blowing it out. Beans are a pretty dusty crop to harvest, and pretty well service this filter every single day. Dirty air cleaner doesn't do anybody any good. Imagine trying to breathe through a piece of cloth that's loaded with dirt. Doesn't work real well now, does it? Well, that's done. I wasn't going to make you watch that entire thing. There's a lot nicer way of doing that. There's a fancy tool for it. I don't own one. It's like 250 bucks, and I guess I've not committed to that. It'd be really nice. I should probably just do that. That'd be the smart thing to do, but I don't know. I don't do those kinds of things. That'd be too smart. Engine oil is good. Serviced the drive chain for the clean grain elevator for this thing. It was making some noise yesterday afternoon when we were running, and kind of just ran it enough to get by for the afternoon there. It was late in the afternoon when the noise started. We checked it, nothing was rubbing or anything, just you could tell the chain was worn and loose. So Dad's down there right now greasing some chains. and I don't currently hear that sound anymore. So I think we may have got the problem fixed, but that chain is definitely shot. It needs replaced. It's after lunch now, and headed down the road here. You can see, headed over to start cutting beans. So I'll catch up with you guys after I get over there and get off the road. Just pulled in over here at John's, cutting some along the driveway here to make it a little wider to get through here. Them trees right there are pretty close to the driveway. Kind of make it kind of narrow for getting back in here. So just taking one swath off this first field coming in the drive here, and I'm gonna back up and head back to the back field. Dad's right behind me with truck and wagons. You can see him in the mirror there, kind of maybe, I don't know. So we'll head back to the back field here and get a spot cut for him so he can get turned around, get out of here. He's gonna go back and get the drill and start planting wheat behind me. It's been several hours since I last talked to the camera here. Got a couple acres knocked out here, and you can see there's a lot of green stuff right here. You can see that all. There's one thing I can tell you about combines. They don't like green stuff. So you hear some thumping and rattling around. That's that green stuff going through the rotor. Green stuff just wraps and kind of makes clanging and banging sounds. You know, it's not dry like the bean stalks, so it doesn't really want to go through the machine. It tends to want to wrap around stuff, kind of bind up. Combines are meant to thresh dry things, so anytime you get anything green, whether it's weeds or you know, a crop that isn't fully ripened, it's not going to go through very nicely. And fortunately for us today, the beans seem to be nice and dry, but once I got on the west side of this field here, I started to find a lot of green grass. I don't know whether the sprayer didn't get that stuff, or if the canopy didn't fully close off to cover the ground to allow to keep from those weeds germinating and growing. But we're going to keep going here and get this field wrapped up. If I got any more wagons as far as room, I'll hop off onto the next one. Unfortunately, it's just Dad and I doing everything, and we really don't have any help. And naturally, I'm running out of room in my wagons. I might be able to get everything here onto the wagons, and at least get this field finished up. But Dad's running out of seed in the drill, So I don't know what's going to end up happening here. He might have to end up waiting on me to get done to take this combine back and grab a truck with some seed. It'd sure be nice if we have some help, but just can't seem to find people that want to work nowadays. That's why you're continually seeing farmers to buy bigger and bigger equipment to do more just yourself, because you just can't find anyone to show up and do a job. And if you do find someone, you know, they don't really seem to care about what's going on. They just want a paycheck. And you know, when you're running equipment that costs more than what most people's houses cost, you know, you can't have someone that doesn't care about what they're doing running it. We don't have anything fancy like that. All of our stuff is all old. I mean, this combine's from 1994. So, yeah, this obviously isn't worth what a house is, but I'm saying that most modern farmers have large equipment that costs a lot of money. And we just don't have enough money to afford those kinds of pieces of equipment. I would dearly love to have a newer combine, bigger combine. Definitely want it to air conditioning works, because today, I'll tell you what, it's like 80 degrees outside. It's hotter than hell in here, and I just don't really like being in here. I mean, it's a nice, comfy place to be when you got air conditioning, but when you don't, it's like sitting inside of a telephone booth with the heater cranked on. And, you know, you got these giant windows, and the sun is a giant heat source, and you're just sitting in here basically frying in a skillet. That doesn't make for life being a very fun time. Well, back here at the main farm now, fueling up. It's the end of the day. It's not looking like things are going to end on a good note on this week. Landowner over there actually came and talked to me when I was finishing up that last field, and said he wouldn't mind giving me a ride back to grab the grain cart. So I went and grabbed a grain cart and grabbed a pallet of seed for Dad, and helped Dad get the drill filled back up and started on the next field. Got part way around the outside, kind of started to feel a vibration in the machine. I didn't see any foreign objects go into the machine. You know, the header's right in front of me there, so I didn't see anything go in. There was a grassy spot I went through that it was going pretty tough, and I ended up picking up and going over that area. Just didn't want to break anything, and unfortunately I think something might have broken the rotor. I don't know. All I know is there's a vibration I'm feeling, so I need to tear that apart and figure out what's going on. It's Saturday evening here, so we're probably going to call it a day. Tear into this next couple days and see if we can figure out what's going on. There is some rain the next couple days, so at least I'm not shut out of good dry weather, but something's clearly off, and I really hope nothing's broke. I really hope I'm just kind of being oversensitive about it and, you know, feel like there's something wrong with it and there's not. I guess as we tear it apart, we'll find out. Dad just picked up the last wagon over here at John's. I'm in the grain cart, so I'm gonna take this back down to his place and put it away and go back those wagons in at the West Farm. Hopefully ahead of this rain. You can see that back here getting dark. That's rain coming. So we can get this stuff all put away before the rain gets here, and still have some time left of the day here. We might go ahead and take a peek in that rotor of that combine, see if we can see anything. Maybe one of the vanes just moved when that bit of green stuff went through there. So that'd be best case scenario. Let's hope for best case scenario. Today is Dad's birthday, so I really hope I didn't just break the combine on his birthday. That makes for not a good son. So let's hope that I didn't just cost us money. I'm gonna feel really bad if I did. Sit there? Yep. Nope.
timed that about right. We decided to put the wagons away before we came back and got the truck, and as you can see by the windshield, maybe you can't see, I don't know, it's starting to rain. So I guess that was the right call to decide to put the loads away before we came over here and picked up the last thing over here. My dad's right ahead of me. I'm in the farm truck, so we'll see you back at the shop. Came back from the field after putting everything away and looked in that combine, and we can't seem to narrow down what's going on with it. Clearly can tell there's some type of vibration. Took all the covers off that we could get to easily to look inside the rotor. We don't see anything, you know, bent, missing, or anything out of the ordinary. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on with it, but guess we're gonna call it a week for now. It's like 7:30, it's starting to rain now, so hopefully next week's a better week. So we'll catch up with you guys later, and thanks for watching.